Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Investing from A to Z podcast. I'm your host, Steph Boldrini. This podcast is for everyone who wants to learn about commercial property investing and join our real estate family. We get the best people in the industry to give you straightforward and practical advice that you can actually use in your investing. And in today's episode, we are continuing our conversation about the Metaverse. We are learning, is location important out there in the virtual world? How can we develop in that world? And what makes real estate valuable in the Metaverse? How can you monetize it? Here we go. So let's say Facebook decides to create their own universe. How are these pieces of land going to merge together or not? How will that work? What if one planet becomes more popular than another planet?
Yeah, that is the trillion-dollar question. Are these going to be interoperable with each other? Is one going to dominate? That's remains to be seen. So we're still so early with this new world that nobody knows. So personally, I'm investing. I've bought virtual real estate in the Sandbox, Decentraland, and another Metaverse project called Netvrk. That's spelled Netvvrk. And I'm looking to invest in virtual real estate and other Metaverse, up and coming Metaverse projects too. There's a saying, spray and pray. And,
Yep.
and so I've kind of adopted that strategy, but not quite. I'm doing like a lot of research into these projects and I'm exploring them, but I am looking to get a lot of exposure to it because I think this is, some people compare it to being able to go back in time and buy a city block in Manhattan 100 years ago. What would that be worth today? What would the return on that be worth today? It would be absolutely astronomical and incomprehensible. And so I think it's very possible that we're looking at a similar opportunity now, where in a decade or 2 decades, we look back and it's like, wow, we could have acquired a land plot in the Sandbox or in Decentraland for only $15K, $20K, and now it's whatever, millions of dollars, who knows. The other thing I'll mention is that you can also purchase in-game assets in the Sandbox and Decentraland. You can also create them. I believe Roblox allows you to do something similar. I haven't played it myself, but it might be something that some of your listeners are more familiar with, especially if they have young children that play Roblox. But they provide you with tools to create your own anything, in-game assets. So it could be a sword, it could be a speedboat, it could be a palm tree, it could be a desk, it could be a bed. Pretty much anything that we have in the real world, you could create it in the Metaverse and you could sell it. So
we can create for free, or do we have to pay to create it?
Good question. I haven't gone down that path yet, so I can't say for sure. That's a great question. I'll have to get back to you on that. I believe the software to create is free to download, but because they exist as NFTs, I believe you're going to have to mint them onto the blockchain, which costs money to mint to the blockchain, to mint an NFT. So I think that's going to be the initial cost with the minting process.
Why is location important when you can literally click a button and be transported to the other side of the planet over there? I'm trying to understand how, there are people literally, quote unquote, walking in these universes, and that's why they'll be able to see Snoop Dogg's neighbor.
Yes. Yeah. So there's various ways to move through these Metaverse projects. There are portals in some of them where you can teleport your avatar from one location to another. However, those are in specific locations only. So there's going to be large stretches of land between portals where you're going to have to find alternate means of moving around. The most common one would be walking or running. There are also roads. You can buy cars. So I'm guessing you could move around the Metaverse faster by purchasing a virtual car.
So you don't really click a button and you're somewhere else right now?
Let me get this right. So in Decentraland, I believe you can enter coordinates into like a search bar, and it will teleport you there. That's why it's so the location, location, location. The whole premise there is people, let's say they teleport to Snoopverse, right? Snoop's property. If you're one of his neighbors, people are naturally going to be walking around Snoopverse. They want to explore the whole area, maybe the surrounding area, and they're going to run into your property. Versus if you're 100 parcels away from Snoopverse, there's no reason for people to go there unless you build something extraordinary. And then people are going to want to go there too. So yeah, that is different from the real world. Obviously, teleportation technology doesn't currently exist as far as we know, at least. But maybe one day, who knows? But I think in the sandbox, which is still, it's in its alpha stage, so you can't explore it yet totally. Yeah, they are going to have portals, and I'm not sure that you'll be able to enter coordinates and then immediately teleport to them. Yeah, people are going to, be buying cars, virtual. I have a virtual car in Netvrk. I have a virtual motorcycle, a virtual off-road truck. And also I'm planning to lease those out to people. I can flip them for profit, or I can lease them out for passive income. So that's kind of my plan.
Are you serious? You're
Yeah.
leasing a car out over there?
Yeah. Yeah. In the future, we'll be able to lease out our virtual properties, our virtual land, our virtual cars, any in-game assets. I think we'll be able to lease out NFTs. If you have a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, you'll be able to lease it out to people so they can put it on their wall in their virtual home when they're hosting an event, for instance.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure people are a bit tripping right now as they're listening to this. At least I am. But there is a really good Mark Zuckerberg's video, an hour-and-a-half video, is a really good way to wrap your head around what is really happening there and what will happen. And as Paul alluded to earlier, talk to your kids. Don't talk to us old people that would actually go out with their own shoes in the real world. Really try to understand what is happening in their world and what is interesting to them. But right now, obviously there are some downsides as well. No tax incentives. There are no lenders out there. You're going to have to upfront the entire investment. Still a little bit different than real estate. But on the other hand, also no new roofs or having to even deal with a management company or whiny tenants. No insurance necessary. It's fascinating. I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm not thinking about right now, but really, really interesting. Is there any other way that you can think of that people are going to be making money with real estate in the metaverse that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, there's one thing that I also wanted to mention. The highest valued NFT just sold in the sandbox in the past couple weeks. It was a virtual mega yacht, and it sold for $650,000.
A mega yacht that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's got multiple floors. It's got a pool on board. It's got DJ booth, and yeah, so people are going to host events on it. That's an in-game asset where the owner of that, I'm sure, is going to be leasing it out to people to host events and make passive income off of it. I think in the next 5-10 years, probably even sooner, again, we'll look back and say, wow, I wish I would have bought that virtual mega yacht for 650 grand. What a steal that was. It's hard to believe and hard to see now, possibly, but that's another example of an in-game asset transport vehicle that exists as an NFT. So just like the land, just like the sword, just like the car, you can easily sell it on an NFT marketplace for profit.
Fascinating. I'm sure there will be plenty more topics to discuss in this space. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you think is really important for our listeners to know right now?
I would just encourage everyone to start looking into this, doing your own research. It's very easy to set up an account on the Sandbox and in Decentraland, create your own avatar, and start exploring, start walking around, look at their marketplaces, see what's for sale, how much it costs, download a digital wallet, get a MetaMask or a Coinbase wallet or a number of other wallets, but MetaMask is the most popular. Start getting familiarized, because this is the future. The opportunities are massive. We're still super early in this space, and I think virtual real estate will be in very high demand over time. I personally think that it'll be worth more than real world real estate at some point in the future.
Yep, this can very likely be Bitcoin, what it was
Right.
10 years ago. So
Right.
everybody listen up, pay attention, learn, and never forget that you learned here first. Paul, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I have a Signal cryptocurrency community thread on Signal app. So I will provide you with a link to that as well. I have a YouTube channel, Sanfran Crypto, and so that'll be another platform for me to keep people up to speed as best as I can on how the metaverse space is evolving, and just more broadly the cryptocurrency space as well. So yeah, happy to connect with people and help facilitate their journey into crypto and metaverse.
And as always, all of these links will be under show notes. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to enlighten all of us into the real estate in the metaverse.
My pleasure. Thanks again for having me.
And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at montecarlorei.com. I hope you guys have an incredible Christmas and New Year's, and I will see you next time.